Well, good day, my friends. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion. How you all doing today? I hope you said great. We are back in Sevierville, Tennessee, and there's one really famous resident that is from here. I mean, I think there's nobody maybe in music that has given back more than Dolly Parton. This is her hometown, and I want to show you some of the things around downtown that I didn't get to show you before. I've been down here and shown you the statue before, but there was so much road construction that, I mean, I couldn't film anything without noise. So I'm going to take you around and show you the cool things down here today that we didn't get to see before. So, Daze with Jordan the Lion, you all, and the great Backwoods Barbie, Miss Dolly Parton, begins now. We might as well start here at the courthouse. They've got the beautiful statue of Dolly. Some people don't really feel like it looks like her, but she said it was the greatest honor in her life. There she is. Distinguished as singer, songwriter, actor, businesswoman, and philanthropist, Dolly Parton is the most honored female country performer of all time and among the best-selling country artists of the post-World War II era. She opened one of country's most visited attractions, Dollywood, and wrote one of the top-selling songs of all time, I Will Always Love You. Of course, I have a picture of her in 9 to 5. She wrote the theme from 9 to 5 as well. She actually wrote that by tapping her fingernails. She said she was just sitting there like scratching her fingernails across each other, coming up with like a typewriter sound, and that's where the song came from. And they're showing a picture of her saying that a day after her high school graduation in 1964, she went to Nashville. And in 1967, she ended up on the Porter Wagoner show. So here we are. Beautiful statue of Dolly Parton. Dolly's family, of course, as many of you may know, was very poor, very big. She was one of 12, I believe she said. And her mother and father just loved music and loved her, loved their kids. They didn't have money, so they had music. Her mother was had a mountain voice and loved to sing around the house. All their relatives would come over and sing, and so she said that's where she learned to love it. It wasn't from the radio. Said even though they did have a small little radio they could occasionally get to work, said it really came from hearing family members. So they honored her here in her hometown with a statue, and like I said, she said this was the greatest honor in her life. And her father, who was very poor and never learned to read, he was so proud of his daughter that he used to come here every night with a pail and broom and scrub brush, and he would clean all the pigeon poop off the statue. Said she didn't know that. Someone finally told her years later, but she said that she knew how proud he was of her. So when she really made a lot of money, she started donating it towards helping people learn to read. You'll notice they put the little butterfly here on her guitar neck, very synonymous with her. Her Love Is Like a Butterfly song. They actually have memorialized that in town here with a little mural. Sorry the shade is so bad right now, but what an amazing lady she is. Still with us, thank God. So Dolly's family had a small cabin that still exists, and Dolly owns it. It's on private property, totally gated off. Last time I was here, we actually went there. So if you look up my Dolly Parton video from last time we went to Locust Ridge, you can see a little bit of the property. But when they would come to town, that's kind of where her life changed, because seeing who they called the town tramp walking through town and her telling her mother, that lady is the most beautiful lady I've ever seen. And she said when she grew up, that's the way she decided she wanted to look. So let's go around town and let me show you. They have a few different places that Dolly used to hang out or perform, notated, or there's stories about them that I was able to find. So right across from the courthouse, Dolly Parton statue's right there. We're gonna walk just right up here to the edge of the street, hang a left, and we're gonna go to where Red's was. And even though Dolly doesn't own it, there is a store here called Jolene's right there, right here. Have a Dolly Christmas. So you can see the courthouse is over here, so we just walk down here and then we're gonna go over and cross the street right here because this is where Reds was. They have a big mural right on the side of the wall. Dolly Parton at Reds. This was an old lunch counter. They have a young Dolly. They're getting served a little burger. I think by the looks of this, right around this age is when she would have started playing. She wrote her first song when she was 5 years old, so really cool to see that they have a memorial to her at one of her favorite little downtown cafes. Her mother would bring the kids down here. She said she was so poor that, and she liked that lady's look, the Town Tramps look so much, that she said even though they couldn't afford makeup, she used to burn matchsticks and then rub the black on her face for a beauty mark or for mascara. So apparently a little history of Reds was that Reds actually opened in 1946, the same year that Dolly was born, by a man named Red Clevenger, and it was a little, as you would imagine, burger joint, kind of soda fountain stand that it lasted until the 70s. So kind of sad to see it's gone. So as I turned around from this mural, I noticed this plaque here. I was like, what is this? And it says historic jail bars. March 31st, 1856, Sheriff Lemuel Dugan accidentally started a fire that destroyed the courthouse and adjacent jail. 41 houses, most businesses, and valuable county records. 13-year-old inmate perished. Witnesses never forgot the dying screams of the young man. Afterwards, the jail bars were salvaged for various projects during the rebuilding of the town. Eventually, some of these were crafted into grates to cover storm drains. This is one of the two that remains. It's right there. Holy cow. Right there under the mural. So that's one of the old jail bars they repurposed. That's crazy. I think Dolly recreated Reds at Dollywood. I think you can go and revisit a recreation of it there. Then over here we have the Sevierville Gazebo, and I want to show you on the wall over there they have a mural to Dolly. And just a nice walk around town. So when you make it over here through the parking lot, this is called the Wings of Wander mural. Love is like a butterfly. You can, basically what this is meant for, you know, they have the cool little trees and stuff out. It's meant for you to stand in the middle and get that photo so that you look like a butterfly. I am definitely not into this kind of photo, but I'll do it for you guys. And they do have a light on the ground. If you come at night, it'll light up your photo. Have no fear, come any time of the day. I love the old town feel of this place. All the old businesses. Old hardware store right next to the piano lesson place. So if you come over to the Sevier County Heritage Museum, you will see this Penny's Cafe over here. It's been renovated. They have a old piece of the tracks from town here that used to lay along this street, Bruce Street. They found them when they were doing some work. They unearthed them from the ground. They used to have, well, you can kind of see they still have a bit of a rail system there. But Penny's right here was actually a place called Old Kilpatrick's Drugstore. And Dolly used to frequent this place a lot. She used to come here and get hot dogs and hang out here after high school, or like after school. So the building still stands, but the business is gone. Now there's another place in town called Emory 5 and 10, and I wasn't able to find the address. All I could find was that it was on Court Street and that it was being renovated, but as I was walking around the parking lot back here, I saw it from behind. Check this out. I noticed from a distance back here on the back, what would be the back side of the building, on the opposite of Court Street, that it said Emory 5 and 10. Looks like they're literally working on it now. Take a look at that. Probably back entrance. Emory 51025. Dolly said anytime she had money, she was here. She was here spending it on makeup. Because like I said, she thought the lady that they called the town tramp was so beautiful that that's how she always imagined she wanted to look. And she was a great singer and was writing songs the time she was 5. Ended up debuting on the Grand Ole Opry when she was 13, introduced by Johnny Cash. So what a road she has traveled. So this whole building, I did try and see if I could, sometimes on job sites they'll let you in, let you take photos. I asked him if I could. I was like, hey, any chance I could just show the space for Dolly Parton history? And he said, sorry, not till it's done. So this whole building would have been it. Although, one of the guys was saying, I think the original one was actually across the street and they tore it down. So I don't know. Online, everything that I could find said the original building is still here and that it's being renovated. So being that the back of the building had the old Emory thing on it, I would tend to believe this was the original. But I'm also not local either, so. But that is what I believe was Emory 5 and 10 right there. So now we're back over here at the Dolly statue, and we're actually gonna go 2 blocks down this way. There's a building right on the corner called the Pines with some cool history. We basically walked in a giant circle today. So this place here on the corner is called the Pines. It was actually opened in 1928, originally as like a motor, like an auto plant type facility. But then they converted it into a theater, a 700-seat theater. They used to have people like Chet Atkins, Roy Acuff, the Carter family perform here. But at 10, a young Dolly Parton would perform her very first paid gig here. Yep, at 10 years old, her father knew somebody here and talked them into letting her perform. She was so well received that they invited her back the next week and then paid her $10. So she ended up getting more gigs through this at Cass Walker's grocery store, which we'll go and see where that was. The building apparently is still there, but they've memorialized Dolly here on the side of the theater with a mural, or in the mural. There she is. Apparently this was the gig that her father really credited as being the one that kind of sent her career skyrocketing. This is what really got it going. It's amazing that so many of these places are still around. So if you're a Dolly fan, you know any of Dolly's history, Cass Walker might sound familiar to you because he's the man that had a radio show that first started putting her on the radio. So I cannot tell which part. I've looked and looked, but this is the First Baptist Church, and Cass Walker's grocery store was incorporated into this building when they built it. Because this is all First Baptist Church. It might be this section right here. All right, now we're going out to a winery to see a mural. So over here at the Hillside Winery, they have a couple of fun little Dolly themed picture photo ops if you want. Right here from the front, you can tell they have some more of those wings of wander over here. Just follow the butterflies. Also, right by the entrance, you can come over here. You and a friend can sit down there and take a photo with those giant flowers and butterflies. Nice. Even though I've shared it with you before, let's go out and see where Dolly's eventually going to be buried, where her family cemetery is. Here it is, Partons Chapel Cemetery. On the opposite side of this, where you see that fence over there, that is Angel Hill, where her family is. See, right away we're seeing some Parton names, and over here's Owens. Her mother's side is Owens, and her father's side, of course, is Parton. Alvin Owens, Singing with the Lord. I looked all over this side of the cemetery the first time I was out here for like an hour looking for direct family members that I had read about, and I couldn't find them. Then realized there was an opening right over here, and on that side is Angel Hill. The little gazebo. There's Carol Parton. Dolly said her family's huge. She said her family alone, she was like, I think she said the fourth of 12. Both of her parents came from big families. All of her siblings, other than her, have kids and grandkids. So she said people used to ask her if she was Catholic because of that. And she said, no, we're just a randy bunch of hillbillies. So this is where I think she's going to be buried, because this is where her folks are buried. You can see a couple of people have left little butterfly painted rocks. There's like this little road right over here. It's called Dolly Street or Dolly Road. Over here. One thing you can say about Dolly, she is unbelievably generous. And prolific. She's always releasing new music, and she even said herself, she's recorded enough music to where they could basically release like an album a year for like 100 years. Isn't that crazy? So they have this whole hill. So that's why it leads me to believe that her family, or she will be up here with her family somewhere, because over here, the two headstones are for family members, close family members. This one says Donnie David, infant son of Mr. and Mrs. David Parton. And over here, our darling Larry G. Parton, infant. July 6, 1955. That's an important one, because Dolly would say that when she was growing up, because they had such a big family, kind of all the older kids would be put in charge of taking care of the younger kids. So Larry was her responsibility, and he ended up passing away as an infant, as you could see. So that was really sad for her. She never had kids of her own. She couldn't, apparently. Then here are her parents. Robert Lee Parton and Avie Lee Owens. She said she had a great childhood. She said they were very loving people. You know, they didn't have a lot of money or anything like that. Family came from a lot of love, and as you could tell from everything we've seen today, at an early age she fell in love with music, had an outgoing personality, and then Dad got her on stage when she was 10 years old, and the rest was really history. I was kind of wondering if she had an uncle named Billy Owens, who used to help her with her career and take her to some of those local performances early on. I know he passed away shortly after I was out here last time. Thought maybe he'd be over here. This is Floyd Estill Parton. I think that was one of her brothers as well. I read online that Dolly owns that church over there behind those gates, owns all that property. That road right there I told you was named after her, and then there's like 2 Airbnb cabins up there. So these gates are always, every time I've been by here, they've been closed. So you can't get in through there. You have to come in through up here on the top where the gazebo is. I just love Dolly. You want to talk about people that we will never be prepared to lose? I would say she might be #1 on the list. I don't know if there's anybody more beloved by people in the world as far as a celebrity. It's hard to find anybody that doesn't like her. So someday that day will come. I love her outlook on life and stuff. She's generous with everything that she's made. She gave back. The #1 employer in this county because of Dollywood. And she has plastic surgery whenever she wants and everything. And she says, I look at it like this. If you have the money, you want to do it, and you're willing to take the risk, why shouldn't you? If you want to look good and you want to take that risk, you should be allowed to. So, I know a lot of people sometimes get on her about that. I'll see them say something about, she should just quit doing that. Well, I respect her outlook on that. Well, my friends, I hope you enjoyed getting to see a little bit of Dolly Parton's childhood land, her childhood stomping grounds with me, and we will see you all next time. Thank you for watching. Have a great night, and goodbye.